It was a natural evolution into functional medicine because I was already being trained in obesity medicine and having to learn to identify all the environmental and physical and genetic causes of that disease so that you can effectively tailor your treatment to those patients to help them be successful. At the same time that I was undergoing that education process, I also developed an autoimmune illness that the experts have struggled to identify or put a diagnostic name to. I recognized as a medical doctor that the cellular functioning processing in my own body was struggling for some reason. And I began to pursue a way to understand what was happening, even if there wasn't a simple blood test that could explain it. For example, many people that have rheumatoid arthritis, they're going to be able to do a blood test that actually shows definitively that they have rheumatoid factor, and there are other blood tests that are going to diagnose them with rheumatoid arthritis or whatever that autoimmune disease is. But then there's a subset of patients who are going to have that illness that the blood tests are going to be negative. What do you do with them? You know they still have all the same symptoms, but it's a different process internally. Functional medicine is actually trying to look at that process on a cellular level. There's complementary and alternative medicine that has evidence-based to it, and then there's non-evidence-based that just says this herb has been around for 2,000 years and cultures have used it to treat their pain and their inflammation. We have to do the research to provide the evidence that there's benefit to that herb. And that's a growing field. We're learning things every day. We don't know all the answers yet. So functional medicine has a long way to go. But the idea is that you take everything that's at your disposal to help these people heal. And you have to understand as much as is possible with all the scientific evidence we have to work with, what happened to this person, what set them up to develop these disease symptoms, and how can you take them back to that healthy state they were before. After having been the patient that's not fully understood by our current science, I had to open my evidence-based medical doctor-trained mind to say there's more out there that we don't know, that we don't understand, and we need to be taking that patient and sitting down and spending an extra amount of time to understand everything about their history and what makes them them and why they're struggling. I have patients that come to me because they've had many doctors see them and they've not been able to produce a diagnosis. And the first thing I tell those patients is I may not be able to either, because the medical research may not be there yet to tell us what's wrong with you. But the difference for us is we acknowledge that what the patient is telling us is real. And there are a lot of medical doctors that don't give the patient that credence. They tell them, oh, you're just depressed, or it's a side effect of your blood pressure, or you're just going to have to live with it. Or what's a really good phrase is, for certain patients, you have fibromyalgia. Well, they actually might have fibromyalgia or they might not, and it's a catch-all term when the doctor doesn't know what to do with them. For us, we actually take time with that patient and identify everything we can that's going to help us put together clues as to what went wrong, why they feel the way they do, and how we can help get them moved back into that state of well-being. Most of the patients we see, even if we can't give them a diagnosis, we're able to improve how they feel. And we're able to reverse disease processes that are connected to whatever is happening functionally inside their body. And when you can reverse that disease process, when you can help a patient reclaim their health and their life, their enjoyment of life, that's invaluable. And it's worth the time that it takes to do that. Your average doctor doesn't have the time. We just have to make it.